There were many rumors and theories during the past decades about how the Dragon Ball Z movie's content shall be considered inside the Dragon Ball timeline. The truth is that Toriyama answered to this question already on 5th October 1995 at Shueisha in an interview for Daizenshu 6. To the question, "What is your personal stance on Dragon Ball's theatrical films, Sensei?" He simply answered, "I take the movies as stories in a different dimension from the main story of the comic." That literally means we talk about an alternate timeline, or a side story, as he similarly defined also the whole GT saga. There was a lot of confusion also on what canon means. The point that has been missed is that we shall rather talk about what is canon to, instead of just separating things into canon or non-existent. GT is canon to movies in Toeiverse, while Toriyamaverse has its own course of events, its own canon. They even illustrated this concept in those official foolproof cards. We've seen previously in Toeiverse appearances of Cooler in GT, or the whole concept of learning the fusion dance already in the knowledge of Vegeta Super Saiyan 4, as if it was clear that Fusion Reborn movie has happened in the same timeline as GT. A lot of fans miss to understand this, while for Toei it has always been clear and simple. Letting Broly officially entering in Toriyama's canon has opened a new scenario. While something similar has happened earlier with Bardock, the Broly event was a more concrete proof that every DBZ movie villain could potentially exist with a different life story in each timeline, even in Toriyamaverse. We have yet to see if that will happen again, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if Cooler would enter soon in Toyotaro's Dragon Ball Super manga. Xenoverse 2 opened this concept to an even wider scenario. While confirming the villains exist in multiple timelines and in each one they have a different story, it made definitely clear that more DBZ villains coexist in the same realities, and that it is not like if each movie is meant as a separate timeline. We've seen this also in Dragon Ball Z Gaiden, where Slug, Turles, Cooler, and Frieza were fighting together, even if they were some sort of clones. It is totally possible that there are timelines where only certain villains have popped out and others where all of them appeared. As a side note, please consider my Dragon Ball GS and Dragon Ball AF stories as an alternate timeline to Toeiverse. That doesn't exclude super characters, as specularly to what's said before, they could exist too in Toeiverse with a different storyline. For example, there's no reason to think the Heaters don't exist in GT just because Goku hasn't met them during his trip in the universe. They could have either kept doing their business, or they could have died earlier in any of the wars brought on by Frieza's empire, or they could have had any other destiny.